Welcome to America, a place of glorious public transit, food that could put down an entire army of Europeans, and suburban sprawl spreading faster than our McDonald's-induced diabetes. It's time to break down this nation city by city. In part 1, we covered all of these lovely places, and today we will be covering all of these lovely places. So let's get right into it, shall we? Starting with Los Angeles, California, the city of angels, where dreams are born, plastic is injected, and traffic is eternal. Now, we talked about the Atlanta traffic in part 1, but the bumper-to-bumper parking lots of Los Angeles are biblical. The 405 isn't a freeway, my friends. This is the mass grave of the free time of millions of innocent Californians. Everyone in LA is either an actor, a writer, or a creative consultant. In other words, no one in Los Angeles has an actual job. They're all either trying to become a SoundCloud rapper, audition for the next Netflix dud, or become a YouTuber. Wait, why does the script say that? I'll have you know, YouTube is very much a real job. Anyway, alright, now are all the LA stereotypes of hippie vaping surfers and wannabe influencers in their rented Lamborghini Aventadors actually true? Yes, absolutely they are. But let's be real here, Los Angeles is the media engine of the world. All of your favorite over-budget movies were made here unless you, I don't know, exclusively enjoy Ugandan cinema. Which is a segment of the population, I'm sure. Now, we can't talk about Los Angeles without mentioning Erewhon, because this place perfectly encapsulates the entire city. Erewhon is not a grocery store as it appears on the surface. I mean, this is a lifestyle cult, if we're being real here. You'll walk in for a water and walk out absolutely financially ruined after buying an $18 moon-charged aptogenic smoothie made by a guy named Sage, who probably looks a little something like this. Want a half dozen eggs? That'll run you $10. Organic peanut butter smoothie? $14. That's actually criminal. A damn granola bar is $5. I mean, at that point, it better come with a firm handshake and a thank you note. But it doesn't stop at Erewhon, my friend. Gasoline, for example, is $4.77 a gallon, while it's $3.17 nationwide. And while we're on the topic of prices, let's get into real estate. LA is the New York of the West Coast. The average home here costs $978,000. Holy shit. And meanwhile, the national average is like $400,000 or so. I'm starting to see why there's 70,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. I'd probably be on the streets too. I was on Zillow for all of about 17 seconds, and I found this $300,000 condo in LA with 277 square feet. I mean, this isn't a home. This is a walk-in panic room. Now, I know it sounds a lot like I've been dogging on Los Angeles, but there is a lot of beauty in this city, too. For one, people from all over the world have come here to realize their dreams in what is probably one of the most gorgeous parts of the planet. And by all over the world, I mostly mean the Midwest and probably a little bit of Mexico, too. You've got the GTA 5 inspired Santa Monica Pier. And yes, I say GTA 5 inspired because I'm convinced that the city was modeled after the game, not the other way around. You've also got the infamous California palms that soar above gorgeous Spanish-style homes. And there's a sort of bold skater, surfer, entrepreneur culture here that I think has helped define the entire country today. So yeah, LA is kind of crazy. It's overcrowded, overpriced, and occasionally on fire. But if you're lucky, you might just make it big here. Next city, New Orleans, Louisiana, or as some say, New Orleans, or Nolans. Anyone who says America doesn't have culture clearly has never been to New Orleans. And frankly, neither have I. But I've read about the place, and it seems wild. New Orleans simply doesn't do mild. It does gumbo, jambalaya, crawfish boils, and po' boys stuffed so full they're bursting at the seams. It's like the antithesis of British food. You're basically eating seasoning with a little bit of food on the side. This is the city where jazz was born, bourbon is consumed by the gallon, and you can parade down the street in a feathered mask with a brass band behind you just because it's Tuesday. And what I'm referring to there is Mardi Gras. Because New Orleans is globally famous for its extravagant Mardi Gras celebration. Mardi Gras is like Halloween, Carnival, and a frat party all rolled into one. I mean, you've got booze, beads, and a whole lot of boobs. New Orleans has strong French roots, with the famous French Quarter drawing tourists from across the nation, and all of them are there for the same reasons: to get drunk, see ghosts, and take selfies on balconies that are probably older than most US states. Now, last video we talked about how Las Vegas has a lack of water problem, and New Orleans is like on the total other end of the spectrum. This place is like a live-action Shrek swamp. In 2005, the city was pummeled by Hurricane Katrina, one of the most devastating hurricanes in US history. But since then, New Orleans has rebuilt with the kind of resilience found only in a city that throws funerals with live music. Seriously though, have you ever seen a New Orleans funeral? They make it look kind of fun. New Orleans is a soulful fever dream built on jazz, jambalaya, and a sticky humidity that could melt a frickin' mountain. But let's say you wanted that same chaotic energy, only with more humidity, less clothing, and a significantly higher chance of running into a dude with his pet alligator on the beach. It's time to head to Florida. Miami, Florida. If New Orleans is a soulful fever dream, Miami is just a full-blown sunstroke hallucination. Every spring without fail, the northern half of the nation engages in the annual Great Spring Break Migration, where we all basically descend on Florida, and especially Miami, like a pack of sunburn-ready tequila-fueled gremlins in search of bad decisions and $15 tattoos. In part 1, we crowned San Antonio as America's Little Mexico, so it's only right that we now hand Miami the title of America's Little Cuba. Florida as a whole has around 2 million Cuban Americans, which is almost 20% of the population of Cuba itself. I mean, they've basically conquered the entire city, which is awesome because they've brought their little sandwiches with them. And I am all for that. You've got Little Havana, a cultural hub of abuelas yelling from balconies, threatening their grandchildren with a chancla, and dudes in gallaberas rolling cigars. And then there's South Beach, which is ground zero for the spring break invasion I mentioned earlier. This place becomes an absolute nightmare. I mean, you've got a hazardous concentration of frat dudes named Brock shotgunning Budweisers, while snow-traumatized Minnesota families look on in horror as shirtless white guys scream Bad Bunny lyrics that they almost certainly cannot sing. And we can't forget about Brickell. This is where your favorite Instagram influencers and broke tech bros go when they can't quite afford to fake their lifestyle in Dubai yet. So they do it here instead, with rented Lambos, stage lunches, and, Wi-Fi that probably doesn't work in their $3,000 a month shoebox apartments. The view is quite nice, though, I'll give them that. Miami's food scene is absolutely fantastic, being famous for its arepas, croquetas, empanadas, key lime pie, and of course, Cuban espresso that could kill a man in one shot, cafecito. And just like many of the cities we've already mentioned, Miami traffic is absolutely legendary, of course, because where is it not? But I couldn't think of another city where you can get cut off by an 18-year-old influencer in his purple Porsche 911 and an 80-year-old Ohio retiree in his 2008 Lincoln MKX within the same 5-minute span. And we can't talk about Miami without mentioning the weather. Imagine 6 hot blow dryers constantly attacking you while you sit in a sauna. That's basically what it feels like to walk outside. Yeah, Miami has 2 temperatures. You've got hot and boiling swamp hot. Overall, Miami is like if college were a city. It's a constant party with a little bit of work and some salsa sprinkled in there as well. And speaking of college, boy do I have a city for you. Boston, Massachusetts. Boston is the American capital of smart people. Not that it's really a particularly high bar or anything, but still. The Boston area is home to the prestigious Harvard, MIT, Boston University, Northeastern University, and a whole host of other little ones you've never heard of, but would gladly take your $80,000 a year to allow you to find yourself at their institution. Boston is basically just a giant college campus with a bunch of finance bros, engineering majors, and philosophy students aggressively bumping into each other in their Patagonia vests and Red Sox hats. And speaking of Red Sox hats, you can't talk about Boston without talking about some sports, because it's a religion over there. You've got the Patriots, the Celtics, the Bruins, and of course the Red Sox, who play at Fenway Park, the oldest baseball stadium in America. And Boston fans are built different. They'll gladly heckle the New York Yankees in their goofy accents at a Bruins game. Is it the same sport? No. Does it matter to them in the slightest? Also no. In Boston, you'll find cobblestone streets that'll shadow your ankles, brick buildings older than half the states in the country, and historic pubs where the founding fathers got drunk and invented freedom the American way. Of course, you also can't discuss Boston without mentioning the Bostonian accent. The letter R? Forget about it! Actually, that's what the New Yorkers say. I don't know why I included that in there. Boston, car becomes ka, and bar becomes ba. So when you ask a Bostonian to say, park the car in Harvard Yard, after spitting on you because they've already done it 3 times that day, they'll say, park the car in Harvard Yard. Boston's also famous for its cuisine. You know, you've got clam chowder, lobster rolls. I'm so sorry. And enough baked beans to fuel a second Revolutionary War. We also can't forget Dunkin' Donuts, because Dunkin' to Boston is like what Tim Hortons is to Canada. It's basically 3/4 of their dang economy. Boston's also famous for its cannolis, which are taken so seriously over there, they have their own, like, LA-style gang turf wars over them. You've got Mike's versus Modern, and I mean, people have full-fledged discussions and debates about this stuff online. It's serious shit we're talking. Also, just like LA, the driving situation in this city is mythical. I mean, this is where road rage was invented. It's gotten to the point that Massachusetts drivers are now known as massholes, because they did that to themselves, and they wear it like a badge of honor. But let's say you're done dodging potholes, fighting over cannolis, and getting verbally assaulted by a guy in a Bruins jersey for not walking fast enough. Let's take things west, where the air is thinner, the mountains are taller, and the weed is definitely legal. Denver, Colorado. Ah yes, Denver, the mile-high city, which refers to its elevation, sure, but mostly the fact that everyone here is constantly high on that stuff. To give you an idea of what it's like here, this is the kind of place people would move to competitively hike like it's a sport. You know, I was thinking of hiking a 14er this weekend out in the mountains. No, you're not. You're just gonna hit the dispensary, eat an entire box of edibles, and then fall asleep watching nature documentaries. Yeah. And you're just gonna get plastered off an entire 12-pack of Coors, aren't you? Yeah. To their credit, though, the people of Denver are actually some of the healthiest people in the country. I mean, the state of Colorado is basically the only thing holding us back from cracking the top 5 in the obesity category. Jeez, way to weigh us down, Colorado. Or, I guess make us lighter. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Also, the Denver airport, allegedly the headquarters of the Illuminati, home to lizard people layers and underground tunnels to the underworld. I genuinely have no idea how the Denver airport conspiracy theory started, but there is this giant evil horse outside and gargoyles inside. So, you know, it must be the Illuminati. I mean, that's the only thing that would make sense. They've even gone ahead and leaned in on the theories, installing this graphic inside the airport. Because sometimes, my friend, the best deflection is in fact just hiding in plain sight. Wow, this altitude sure's got me feeling lightheaded. Let's head back east for our next city. I'm sorry, that was an abhorrent transition. Just bear with me here. Nashville, Tennessee. The city where cowboys, bachelorette parties, and crypto bros all somehow coexist in a chaotic southern symphony. This is the country music capital of the world. There aren't many places you can go in Nashville without running into a bar where someone is trying to make it big. It's like the redneck live version of SoundCloud. I mean, huge names like Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, Luke Bryan, Morgan Wallen, Carrie Underwood, Casey Musgraves, and Willie Nelson, they're all connected to Nashville one way or another. The Music City is also home to the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Grand Ole Opry. And Nashville as a city is absolutely booming. New buildings are popping up downtown and people are moving here in droves. Artists, entrepreneurs, influencers, you name it. And when you're the home to Nashville hot chicken, I see why you'd make the trip. Now, just about 200 miles away is Nashville's little brother, Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis is the hidden gem of America. Is it because of the homicide rate that puts Brazil to shame? Nope. How about it being the city where the king of rock, Elvis Presley, made his name? Still no. What about the mythical Memphis-style barbecue? Not even that. You see, my friends, Memphis is home to the 7th largest pyramid on the face of the earth, the Bass Pro Shops Pyramid. Introducing 535,000 square feet of pure American capitalism in the shape of an ancient Egyptian tomb. This place has everything: a bowling alley, a hotel, a shooting range, a swamp, a literal swamp, and enough camo gear to start your own private militia. Egypt gave us the pyramids of Giza. Memphis gave us this capitalist fever dream. Aside from that, Memphis is known for being the home of the blues and the birthplace of rock and roll. Memphis really is one of the most important cities in the entire country when it comes to music. Just don't go outside at night. That shit is scary. And you know what else is scary? Portland, Oregon. Portland is essentially an open-air REI store. I mean, where else can you see every kind of tent ever manufactured all on display on one street? Portland's motto is "Keep Portland Weird," and I'm happy to report, mission accomplished. You guys did it. For example, every year thousands of people strip down and hop on bikes for the World's Naked Bike Ride. I mean, nowhere else in the world would this happen. Portland is where we keep our national supply of oat milk drinking, pot smoking, flannel, and beanie wearing, slightly zesty lumberjacks. It's also where you might walk into a coffee shop and get judged because your reusable straw isn't made from 100% repurposed barn wood, and where there are more fusion food trucks than buildings. Now, since we're talking about Portland, of course we have to talk about Voodoo Donut, a holy institution in this city. This place sells the most unapologetically chaotic sugar bombs in America, and that is saying something. You've got the "Oh Captain, My Captain," literally a donut covered in Captain Crunch. The Pothole, which could probably hospitalize the average European. The 8 Mile, topped with M&Ms because, I mean, you know, M&M. And then there's the legendary Maple Bacon Bar, which by American nutritional standards basically counts as a vegetable. So yeah, Portland's a bit weird, a bit crazy, and probably a bit high on mushrooms. So let's move up north to explore Portland's bigger, slightly more corporate brother, Seattle, Washington. Seattle is probably one of the most underrated cities on earth in terms of natural beauty. You've got mountains, water, forests, and skyscrapers all in the same frame. It's like nature and capitalism got together for a weird crossover Pacific Northwest photo shoot. Seattle's home to major companies like Costco, Microsoft, Amazon, and Starbucks. And let me just say, it makes perfect sense that Starbucks is from here. I mean, they practically invented the blue-haired barista coffee shop style aesthetic. Seattle's where people drink gallons of coffee, wear North Face jackets year-round, and probably collect rainwater to be eco-friendly. I don't know. And speaking of rain, Seattle gets a ton of it. I mean, this place is practically in a perpetual cycle of power washing from the heavens. But it's not usually like a chaotic thunderstorm type of rain. You know, usually it's more of calm, misty, mysterious type. Seattle's most famous landmark is the Space Needle, which defines the city's skyline. The city's also home to Pike Place Market, a bustling historic market known for flying fish, local vendors, and handmade goods. It's a little touristy, sure, but it's full of good charm and surprisingly good food. Just around the corner is the famous Gum Wall, which is, I mean, exactly what it sounds like. Just an unsanitary, colorful wall of rubber. Now that we've checked in on good old Seattle, Washington, I think it's time we pay a visit to the other Washington. Washington, D.C. Welcome to the nation's capital, where Lockheed Martin's checks are written and our best stock traders go to serve in Congress. This is the epicenter of American power, politics, and passive-aggressive tweets. Washington is probably the best designed city in the United States, with grand boulevards and solid walkability downtown. It's actually illegal to build a skyscraper here because, generally speaking, no building can be taller than 130 feet in height. Here you'll find the U.S. Capitol, where our lizards in suits do their thing.
What about Skibbity coin? There already is a Skibbity toilet coin.
The White House, where our orange in a suit does his thing. The Supreme Court, Lincoln Memorial, and Washington Monument, which has been used in many curious photographs. DC's Metro is also commonly referred to as America's cleanest public transit system. Again, like a couple things we talked about today, I wouldn't exactly say that's the highest bar, but it's a win nonetheless. And since DC isn't a state, the people here are technically not represented in Congress, so they just lobby all the other states' politicians and protest outside instead.
No more fascist occupation! No deportation! No more fascist occupation!
But besides all that, DC is a surprisingly normal city. There are some bad areas, of course, and some even worse traffic, as well as history everywhere. But so is gentrification. You'll see a 200-year-old church right next to a Whole Foods with valet parking. Well, this video is getting pretty long. I think it's time for a speed round. Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to hell on earth, and it's not because the people are bad or anything. The city is just, I don't know, pretty much an oven nearly year-round. Whoever stumbled into this random barren spot in the middle of the desert and decided to build the 10th largest metro area in the United States needs to be sent to the principal's office immediately. And the locals will tell you, at least it's not humid, it's dry heat. Like it matters when my skin welds itself to the leather seats in my car because it's 117 frickin' degrees outside. Phoenix is probably the largest city in the United States that, frankly, no one really talks about for some reason. Maybe it's the fact that every house looks exactly like this with either a gravel or turf lawn with the suburbs stretching infinitely, or because you might just come home to a scorpion and a tarantula playing a game of Uno on your dining room table. Either way, it's still one of the fastest growing places in the country. Now let's head somewhere the weather's nearly perfect year-round. San Francisco, California. While Los Angeles is the capital of entertainment, San Francisco is the capital of tech. Every major company that secretly spies on you 24/7 to sell your information to advertisers is located here in the Bay Area. You've got Apple, Google, Meta, Twitter, you name it, it's probably here. They also conveniently decided to build San Francisco on a 45-degree angle, so whether you like it or not, it's leg day every day. If you made the streets perfectly level, this is what the city would look like. San Francisco is famous for the Golden Gate Bridge, Chinatown, cable cars, and having a major drug problem. Oh yeah, we gotta talk about that. While Los Angeles has Skid Row, San Francisco has a lot of places actually. Tenderloin, parts of Market Street, Bayview, Hunters Point. But nonetheless, the average home in the city costs about $1.3 million. I mean, I actually have no words. You know, you can just sweat your ass off in San Antonio for $252,000 instead. I think I know what I'm picking. And Californians apparently do too, because San Francisco and its bigger yet less famous brother San Jose have been losing people for a little while now. Still though, the Bay Area remains one of the most economically important places in the entire world. I mean, Silicon Valley produced the platform I'm uploading this video to, the software I'm gonna use to edit it, and the computer I'm gonna edit it on. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The city of brotherly love, where that love usually ends up with a fist fight outside a Wawa at 2 a.m. This is a city that is so fundamentally East Coast, it practically bleeds cheesesteak grease and passive-aggressive hostility. And don't even think about asking where to go to get the best cheesesteak unless you're trying to start a gang war between Geno's, Pat's, and a third lesser-known spot in South Philly that some guy swears by that doesn't even have a sign. Philly is also the birthplace of American independence, where the founding fathers said, I don't know about y'all, but it is the 1700s, I don't have squat to do, and these taxes are kind of annoying the shit out of me, let's just start a country, I don't know. And Philly said fine, but only if we can throw snowballs at Santa Claus, which they proceeded to do in 1968 when Eagles fans booed and pelted Santa with snowballs during halftime. And you know, if Santa showed up in a Cowboys jersey, they'd gladly do it again. Philly's got Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, and somehow also entire neighborhoods that look like they just went through the purge. Introducing Kensington, Philadelphia. Whoa. Okay, yep, I think we've seen enough of Kensington. Despite some of its problems, Philly's got heart, and none of that almond milk stuff they drink on the other coast. You'll be okay here, just don't leave your car unlocked or cheesesteak unattended. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore's exactly like Memphis, except instead of crime and barbecue, it's crime and seafood. The city is famous for its incredible crab and Old Bay seasoning. This is also the birthplace of the national anthem and Fells Point, which will take you back to the colonial times, back when the city was actually functional. But like Detroit, which we talked about in the last video, Baltimore is experiencing a comeback too, in some ways. Sure, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed last year after a boat hit it, but hey, federal money is coming in, and supposedly they are getting something new, I think. Baltimore is rough around the edges, but it is a city of resilience. We still gotta figure out the whole fentanyl thing. Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, Cleveland explains itself.
Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. Under construction since 1868. See our river that catches on fire. It's so polluted that all our fish have AIDS. We see the sun almost 3 times a year. It could be worse though, at least we're not Detroit. We're not Detroit!
Much like Detroit, though, the city is having quite the resurgence. And their river doesn't catch on fire anymore, so progress. Salt Lake City, Utah. Here is what I had to say about the state of Utah in my Every U.S. State Explained video.
Utah. Mormons and rocks. That's Utah.
Wow, Chase, really well said. Just so happens that that exact explanation applies to the city of Salt Lake City. Oh yeah, and the Great Salt Lake just so happens to be drying up pretty fast. We should probably do something about that. On the bright side, though, the Bonneville Salt Flats are a really great spot to go felon speeds in your Dodge Challenger Hellcat without getting sent to federal prison. Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Breaking Bad. Honolulu, Hawaii.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life.
And you're going bankrupt. Anchorage, Alaska. And you're in the middle of nowhere. San Diego, California. San Diego is the best city in California. The weather is absolutely perfect year-round, a constant 75 degrees every single day. You've got some banging Mexican food. And if China decides to pull some funny business, you've got like half of the US Navy there to protect you. Yeah, it's still ungodly expensive. We are in California after all. But San Diego is chill, clean, culturally rich, and basically California's reward for dealing with the rest of California. All right, I'm kidding. Or am I? So there it is. We covered cities that are freezing, boiling, crumbling, booming, and some that are somehow doing all four at the same time. From New York's towering ambition to San Francisco's slanted sidewalks, Miami's salsa-soaked chaos, to Denver's weed-scented altitude, this country is a chaotic amalgamation of overpriced housing and, at best, questionable public transportation. Be sure to join our first 100,000 legends before time runs out. You know, you gotta claim that early ticket. Thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Orlando. That's where Mickey Mouse does his thing. We don't talk about Orlando.